Gavin. Now do the grapevine. Good job. Stay here. Lift up. Now you do a routine. You choreograph. Good job. Grapevine again.
Hey everyone, it's your Congresswoman LaMonica McIver representing New Jersey's 10th Congressional District. I am literally on my way right now to Delaney Hall to conduct an oversight visit.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys remember who this is, but this is Congresswoman LaMonica McIver. She's the Congresswoman who's being charged with assaulting Homeland Security officers.
LaMonica McIver, Chris, moved to dismiss the indictment against her on multiple grounds, including the fact that as a member of Congress, she is legislatively immune from being prosecuted.
That's right, you heard that correctly. LaMonica McIver tried to argue that as a member of Congress, I cannot be prosecuted. I was doing my duties as a member of Congress, thus I am protected.
And on most of those grounds, she failed.
Yeah, so it turns out the federal judge is not buying any of these arguments, and that's what we're going to dig into with this video. Now, we've been covering the LaMonica McIver case from the very beginning. In fact, even weeks before LaMonica McIver showed up to Delaney Hall, and I'm going to show you guys all of the details and why LaMonica's arguments are not the greatest when it comes to federal immunity. Now, before we start the video, make sure to please like the video. It's the #1 way you guys are helping this channel, and it also helps others see the videos as well. And I think people want to see what the heck is going on with this member of Congress, because again, there are a lot of missing details, and I want people to see what's going on.
Leave for your car. Yeah, right here.
Build this country up, and it's a shame that the IRS is sharing information with ICE.
Have a contract, and so they're completely responsible for what's happening here, the Geo Group.
Okay, this is going to be very crucial as we dig into this entire case, because this is what LaMonica McIver is arguing. She was doing her congressional duty as a member of Congress, and she cannot be prosecuted for it. So why am I showing you the mayor of Newark, New Jersey? What does he have to do with any of this? Well, 1 week before LaMonica McIver showed up to do her oversight visit, the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, he was trying to do his unannounced visit into this facility, and the mayor was not allowed access. And then all of a sudden, 3 members of Congress decide they're gonna show up to Delaney Hall, and that's how we get this clip.
Hey everyone, it's your Congresswoman LaMonica McIver representing New Jersey's 10th Congressional District. I am literally on my way right now to Delaney Hall to conduct an oversight visit here at this detention center. We've been seeing on the news all of the lack of transparency and chaos that has been coming out of this facility.
So these 3 members of Congress show up to Delaney Hall unannounced. Now, at the time, members of Congress were allowed to show up unannounced. The only issue is, on the other side of this gate, there were media members, there were protesters, and basically there was confusion as to what was even going on.
You're gonna know. If we're not going in, you're in violation of federal law. And we will pursue it. And you don't need to be at the end of that convention. So either we'll see it or you'll see who's there.
And then we get to this point. Now, everybody has seen this video. You're about to see LaMonica McIver. It looks like she's hitting and crashing into federal agents. Right here. And remember, LaMonica McIver is arguing, well, I was just doing my duties as a member of Congress. But there's a big issue here. There is a gap in time. How did we go from entering Delaney Hall, everything looked kind of peaceful, to a clash? Where is that moment in time? Well, this is why I have the receipts. I will show you guys why there's an issue with this timeline.
And then chaos ensued when someone on the phone above the leaders of ICE who were with us at the facility instructed them to go out of the facility, go to the private property, and lock the mayor of the largest city in the state of New Jersey up. That's absurd.
This right here is the part that everyone misses. These members of Congress were about to go and do their oversight visit. They were good to go, but then they overheard a phone call. The mayor of Newark, New Jersey is going to be arrested. We have to go back on the other side of the gate and go and see what's happening, and that's where we get into the clashing and pushing and shoving. These members of Congress left their oversight opportunity to go back onto the private property and see what was happening, and this is why the federal judge is like, okay, hold on, the clashing and the shoving has nothing to do with the oversight. You were about to do your oversight, but you left that opportunity, and that's how we got to the clashing and shoving. And by the way, we didn't even get to the second part of the clashing and shoving. We'll get to that in a second. So now that you know that timeline, here is the argument from LaMonica MacIver.
Lisa, there's also an update today on Democratic Congresswoman LaMonica MacIver's fight to dismiss charges against her from Trump's DOJ. What did the judge have to say?
So LaMonica MacIver, Chris, moved to dismiss the indictment against her on multiple grounds, including the fact that as a member of Congress, she is legislatively immune from being prosecuted where she is carrying out her congressional responsibilities, which include oversight. And because she was at that immigration facility in Newark the day of the alleged assault, she is saying she was trying to do oversight. The very fact that she was arrested and prosecuted stems from her attempt to exercise legislative oversight.
So this is why that timeline is very crucial. I don't think anyone is denying she was there to do oversight. But if you don't know that gap in the timeline where they were about to do oversight, but then they overheard the phone call and went back on the other side of the gate to see what's going on with the mayor, that gap in time is a really big issue for LaMonica MacIver, because you leaving Delaney Hall to go and block off the mayor of Newark, New Jersey from being arrested, and we have heard that on CNN before from the other member of Congress, that is the issue here. That little part right there is not deemed protected under your congressional rights and duties. You guys can leave your comments down below how you feel about that, but this is why that gap in time is so crucial to this entire story.
She also says that her case is a classic example of selective and vindictive prosecution. And on most of those grounds, she failed. The one thing that the judge says he's going to reserve decision on is whether one of the 3 counts in the indictment is one for which she's legislatively immune. He says he needs to review more of the evidence, and specifically body camera and other video footage from that day before he makes a call.
Real quick, before we continue, make sure to please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing with this story. I don't want you to miss anything. And if you see the QR code, that's for people watching TV. Just take out your cell phone, scan the QR code. It's a lot easier for you to subscribe that way. Thank you guys so much. Okay, so what is the third charge the judge is trying to figure out whether or not they're going to drop? Well, according to Politico, it's the count Semper did not fully rule on involves alleged contact between MacIver and an agent inside the gated area after the scrum outside of the gate. But we actually have body cam footage that proceeds on the other side of the gate. Now, I'm going to show you this. Basically, what you see right here, this is the mayor of Newark, New Jersey. He's going to be brought to the other side of the gate. Following the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, LaMonica MacIver is also going to follow on the other side of the gate, and that's where the judge is trying to make a determination what happened. So let's watch this body cam footage and you guys can make your own determination. Here's LaMonica MacIver. Again, she's going to follow into the other side of the gate, into Delaney Hall. Right there. Now from here, we're on the other side of the gate. Check this out. So this is what's being contested, because we can clearly see on camera, LaMonica MacIver did put her hands on this officer. Again, I want to make sure I am making a claim that we can actually see on camera. Let me back it up. Right there. So right there, the judge is going to figure out whether or not this is going to be considered assault. But you can see on camera, her hands were put on this officer, which is why you hear the other officer say, "Get your effing hands off of the officer." Again, so let's play through this. Get your hands off of her. This part also really sticks out to me. A lot of people never point this out. The other officer was like, "You guys created this." And we also see intentions behind the officers to try and calm LaMonica MacGyver down. But then you also hear LaMonica MacGyver say, "You guys are going to pay for this. You're going to pay for this." Now, this is the most shocking part of this entire story. And this is why I think LaMonica MacGyver is going to be in some more trouble. They were still able to do the oversight visit. Despite all of this clashing, they still did the oversight visit.
I think, number one, we have an obligation to do so. We have to show up and do our jobs. And at the end of the day, the reason why we were there is because we wanted to make sure this facility was up to par, that it was clean, that it was safe, and that the detainees there were, given due process, that they were able to use the phone, that they were able to speak to their legal representation, which we found out was not happening. But that was our reason. So despite, what Republicans are saying, about us, trying to break people out of jail, that's untrue. We were not there to do that. We were there to conduct an oversight visit, which after all of this, the chaos, Kate, they gave us a tour.
I told you guys, straight from LaMonica MacGyver, she is fully admitting she still did the oversight despite the clashing. Now, the reason why this is still an issue for LaMonica MacGyver is because, again, she is arguing she is being targeted because this is a political attack. But if this was a political attack, why did they still let you do the oversight despite getting into a clash? And we can see on footage and still camera, this is the mayor of Newark, New Jersey. This is LaMonica MacGyver putting her hands on a federal agent, and this is the mayor being surrounded by his own people and another member of Congress. I don't know how LaMonica MacGyver is going to be able to argue this is all a part of my congressional duty and I should be held immune. We can see on still camera there is physical contact being made with a federal agent, and this is the moment in time where I told you guys that gap in time, the members of Congress went back on the other side of the gate, like you see right here, and were blocking off the mayor of Newark, New Jersey because they overheard he was being arrested. And what it looks like, the federal judge is saying, okay, hold on, this part right here, you see right here, this has nothing to do with oversight. So now I hope you understand what's going on, and this is why the entirety of the story and the facts I showed you guys, this is why the federal judge, in my opinion, is not buying what LaMonica MacGyver has to say.
To being selectively and vindictively prosecuted don't pan out. And not only that, she hasn't even established sort of the bottom threshold necessary to get more discovery to support those claims. That sort of puts a pin in the balloon, so to speak, with respect to perhaps others who have been prosecuted by the Trump administration and who similarly have an expectation that they will be able to show selective and vindictive prosecution in their cases. That includes not only the two defendants who are here today, Tish James and Jim Comey, but also John Bolton and potentially others. Chris?
Yeah, so again, this is going to be an uphill battle for LaMonica MacGyver because we can see on camera what exactly is going on. And Bonnie Watson, the other member of Congress, she said on national television on multiple occasions, I've already covered her in great detail way in the past. She says verbatim, we were trying to help out the mayor. We were trying to block off the mayor, and we can see it on camera. So again, this is going to be very difficult for LaMonica MacGyver to try and argue, in my personal opinion.
Nothing I dislike more than the politician that sits there and lies to you.
But Newsom better get home quick. He's got another fire to put out. His former chief of staff from just a year ago got arrested. Dana Williamson is accused of wire and bank fraud, accused of stealing nearly $250,000 from the feds. if she's got any dirt on Newsom. Think she'll flip? Let's bring in founder of Public News, Michael Schellenberger. How you doing, Michael?
Great to be with you, Jesse.
So this trip down to Brazil, that's kind of a macho move, you know. Trump's not there. The governor's going down there representing the good old U.S. of A. How's it going?
I mean, it's easy to make fun of Gavin because of his jazz hands or whatever. He's like acting like a mime sometimes now. But I mean, look, I think he's the front runner for the Democrat nomination for president. I mean, he's just the best liar that the Democrats have.
Nothing I dislike more than the politician that sits there and lies to you.
I mean, he said that he had funded forest management. He had cut the budget for forest management. We had these high-intensity fires. He then blamed them on climate change. You know, he failed to prepare and respond to the big fires in Los Angeles earlier this year. This was still this year in January. Then blamed that for climate change. You know, he's making assertions around the droughts that is simply untrue. We don't see a change of drought trend in California. I mean, he was on the verge of getting California to get rid of all of our oil refineries. We already have the most expensive gasoline in the country. Our electricity is now 80% more than the national average. I mean, my wife and I, two of us in a home, we paid $350 for our electricity bill last month, Jesse. I mean, California is crazy. Doesn't even get into the homelessness. So, look, I just think his success rests on his ability to fool people and tell Democrats what they want to hear.
Are you concerned about this indictment of his former chief of staff? Usually a chief of staff knows a lot.
I mean, it's a huge deal, right? I mean, the problem is traditionally they've controlled the attorney general, the state attorney general. They've controlled the district attorneys. Of course, the attorney general's office is where all the crimes occur. And so they've been able to basically allow a huge amount of corruption to go on in California for a really long time because they control the offices that should be investigating that. But hopefully we'll see some federal action now. You've got U.S. attorneys from the Trump administration that should be all over this. But yeah, I mean, the corruption in California is legion, and it's really never been properly investigated.
Okay, before we let you go, how do you say bolognese? Is it bolognese or bolognese?
I think Americans, we say bolognese, right?
Okay.
In Italy, maybe they add the E.
Okay, I think Kamala was just getting a little saucy there. Thank you so much, Mike. Good luck with the electricity bills.
Great to be with you.
I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California and a California state representative, and everyone knows it costs more money to live in California, but we're told it's because California is such a much better state and everyone wants to come here. Well, not anymore, honey. People are fleeing in record numbers. Costs a lot to get a U-Haul truck going out of California, almost nothing to rent a U-Haul truck coming back. You know, the politicians like to throw out numbers, facts, and figures that really shroud the true cost of living crisis in our state. And of course, the media hasn't been really digging deep. But a new report out from the Transparency Foundation gives an exact figure called the California cost of living penalty, is what they're dubbing it. And it's an astonishingly shocking number. First and foremost, I want to send you to the website, thetransparencyfoundation.org, thetransparencyfoundation.org. That's where you're going to find the report. This is the third year in a row that the Transparency Foundation has issued this cost of living study. And what they do is quite remarkable because it's the right way to build this analysis. They take a typical family of four, middle class, and then they build a basic household budget for that family of four. Rent or housing, daycare, health insurance, car insurance, gas, electricity, water, food, all of the basic costs of living for a household budget. They take the costs in California and then they benchmark that against the average cost for each of those items in the US. A typical family of four pays $29,753.16 more as just a middle-class family, more to live in California.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And they call this the California cost of living penalty. You go to the website, thetransparencyfoundation.org. The full report is up there. And what it shows is the middle class home income would be at least $130,000, and that they're running an annual deficit of $32,391 versus a national annual deficit of $2,637 nationwide. And this is for a family of four. Their average taxes, $42,000. That then gives them net income of $7,200 per month in change. But their cost of living is $9,964 per month for a family of four. The national average would be about $7,500. So we're looking at a staggering cost of living deficit for this family of $29,753. What are the costs? Well, housing costs, not surprisingly, are the highest overage. Housing costs are 124% more for homeowners for mortgage, 50% more for renters. Gas costs are 50% higher than average. Food costs 27%, water 48%, healthcare 5%, state and local taxes 45% higher, childcare 51% higher, electricity 101% higher, car insurance 20% higher. This is astonishing. And when you take a look at the breakdown in the actual report, and I encourage you to actually read the full report, it's got all the data sources, and it builds out the budget. For example, one of the factoids they use is California's cost of living inflation rate was 6.1% last year compared to the national average of 2.9%. That gives California's inflation rate for just the last 12 months 210% higher than the national average. Gavin Newsom has a problem. As he runs for president, cost of living continues to be the top issue nationwide, and it's certainly the top issue in California. And when it comes to that metric, like so many other categories, Gavin Newsom is the worst governor in the nation. You give him the keys to the White House, you'll get even worse cost of living nationwide.
Nothing I dislike more than the politician that sits there and lies to you. And we all just sit there rolling our eyes going, give me a break.
Not one person ever in my office has ever used the word Latinx.
So can we finally put that to bed?
Yeah,
we agree?
but where did that even...
No more Latinx, everybody.
Well, I just didn't even know where it came from. I'm like, what are people talking about? Impactful this has been on the Latinx community. Latinx community. Politicians that are banning not assault rifles, but the word Latinx. Last night, trying to put my son to bed, he's like, no, Dad, what time? What time's Charlie going to be here? What time? And he wasn't a fan of him. We had peak homelessness under Arnold.
Yeah.
Did you legitimately believe that he was capable of serving as president until January of 2029?
Yeah, I think my focus was frankly situational. It was making sure Donald Trump didn't get back into office to experience everything that we're experiencing today. And there was no interaction I had that suggested otherwise. And we all just sit there rolling our eyes going, give me a break.
It is Thursday, November 13th, and major political corruption exposed in the state of California inside the Gavin Newsom administration. 5 people arrested, including Newsom's former chief of staff, his long-term former chief of staff. That's the most powerful person in state government other than Newsom himself. Also, California capitulating yesterday, canceling 17,000 commercial driver's licenses issued to illegal drivers, and brand new deportation numbers released. We're going to show you that real, actual progress.
Excuse us.
Williamson, do you have anything to say?
Any comments?
Should other California officials and people involved in the government be concerned now with this investigation underway?
Do you have any comment, Ms. Williamson?
Excuse us. No, you guys can contact my attorney. Excuse us.
Do you have anything to say at all?
Ms. Williamson, do you have anything to say to Javier Becerra right now? He called this a gut punch.
Have you been cooperating with prosecutors?
Ms. Williamson, you have nothing to say with the 23 counts against you, alleging that you and co-conspirators funneled money to Javier Becerra.
Watch out for yourself.
Steps.
So Gavin Newsom, fresh off his trip from Brazil, sipping mojitos on the beach in Sao Paulo, being wined and dined, leaving the third world country he created in California to go criticize President Trump in Brazil, calling Trump an abomination yesterday, the most corrupt administration in American history. Really? Is that so, Gavin? Because while you were saying that, at the same time those words were coming out of your mouth, your long-time former chief of staff was arrested, charged, indicted by a federal grand jury on 23 charges related to public corruption, real corruption, folks, old school political corruption, accused of committing bank fraud, wire fraud, defrauding the government, obstructing justice, filing false tax returns, and lying to federal investigators.
Former chief of staff to the California governor, top Democrat Gavin Newsom, is set to appear in court tonight after being indicted on public corruption charges. According to prosecutors, Dana Williamson diverted something like $225,000 from an inactive political campaign to an associate's personal use from 2022 to 2024, which is right around the same time she worked for the governor. Prosecutors also say she claimed more than $1 million in business deductions for things like traveling on private planes, luxury hotel stays, home furnishings, designer handbags, and more. A spokesperson for Governor Newsom tells us in a statement Williamson is no longer serving in his administration and that the governor expects all public servants to uphold the highest standards of integrity. Our Chief Justice correspondent Kelly O'Donnell is following this one for us. Kelly, what's going on here? What do we know and how did this develop?
Well, this looks like kind of old-fashioned political corruption allegations, where Dana Williamson is among 5 people who are accused of funneling money from what was a dormant political campaign account, and we don't know which candidate is associated with that, and doing things like paying expenses, giving one of the co-conspirators a no-show job where a spouse gets paid, but there's no work involved. She has not worked for Governor Newsom since last year, but obviously there are political overtones, and obviously his picture is what we see on camera, and so he will have to some degree, answer for these issues. But this investigation began 3 years ago, so it is not of just this moment with the Trump administration or the DOJ. So it's been going on for a long time.
Just to be clear, this is the equivalent of Susie Wiles in the Trump administration or Stephen Miller being arrested for this kind of public corruption. According to the charges, Williamson allegedly helped divert about $225,000 in funds from a dormant political campaign to an associate's personal account using a money laundering scheme to fund no-show jobs between February 2022 and September 2024.
Oh, hell no! Welcome back to the Democrats Have Downs. They're at the gate, and they're off. Jumping out in the lead is underage girls and Bill Clinton close behind. It's a blue dress painting and a creepy island. And now here comes the Lolita Express. A curious prince. Andrew falls back as the FBI takes the reins. Faulty cameras falls off quickly as a fat Bill Barr moves into position. And here comes My Guards. Took a nap followed by the strongest bed sheets and the dumbest thing we've ever heard. Coming down the back stretch is Maxwell the Mossad agent moving ahead of dumb horny celebrities. But coming on the inside is leveraged politicians and a blackmail operation. It's Binders Bondy followed by 10,000 hours of footage. Awful footage. Boxes of evidence is challenging for seconds going into the clubhouse turn. Passing on the rail is a creepy temple that looks like Ellen DeGeneres' studio backdrop, followed by cardboard in the windows, a giggling Bill Gates, and in general, you always have to be careful. Here they come, spinning out of the turn. Epstein didn't kill himself, is in the lead, but here comes Cash and Bongino. No arrests and public outrage are neck and neck, and down the stretch they come. Pedos run our government is pulling away from disappearing victims by a length, but coming in strong is no videos exist, but I saw the video, and nothing is wrong. And at the wire, it's the media colluding with Epstein, a conspiracy to finish Trump, and who's the boss?
So my issue here is, why I started off the video said, I know you're probably shocked. I know that you should be sitting down because you're probably shocked that there's stuff going on in Sacramento, that there's corruption in the state of California. But that's the issue. The issue is that when you have a state that is completely run by one party, there's no one looking into any of this, right? No one's going to tattle on the other person because you're all part of the same party. Do you think Rob Bonta, as the Attorney General, is really going to look into this? Do you think he really cares about this stuff? Do you think he's really going to get to the bottom of this stuff and really figure out what's going on here? No, because they're all part of the same party. They're all trying to help each other out. So this is the issue when you have a state that is completely run by one party. And just as an example, these are all just from one city. This is all from LA. I want to show you some other corruption that gets away here in California. A pay-to-play scheme, a sprawling federal corruption investigation looking into possible bribery, extortion, money laundering, and other crimes, laying one former council member in prison and led another to a guilty plea. Former city council member Mitchell Englander was sentenced in 2021 to 14 months in prison after being convicted of lying to federal authorities about his dealings with a businessman who provided him with $15,000 in secret cash payments and a debauched night in Vegas. And then Jose Huizar, I imagine that's how it's said. Englander's case, though, is part of a larger probe into an alleged pay-to-play scheme, which was centered on former council member Jose Huizar. It first gained public attention in 2018. FBI agents raided the then council member's home and office. And here's another one. This is also from LA. LA is a hotbed of corruption because, again, when it's a city run completely by Democrats, who's watching who? Who's going to rat on anybody unless the feds get involved? One of Los Angeles' most prominent political figures, suspended city council member Mark Ridley Thomas, was indicted in 2021, along with a former USC dean on federal charges that he took bribes from the dean in exchange for directing millions in public funding to the university. So prosecutors said the kickback scheme occurred when Ridley Thomas sat on the LA County Board of Supervisors in 2017 before he joined the city council, from which he was later suspended. He was found guilty in March on 7 of 19 counts, including conspiracy, bribery, honest services, mail fraud, and honest services wire fraud. And then one more. This was recently Corinne Price to face new corruption charges. The DA, so this isn't federal, but the DA of Los Angeles has brought new charges against another council member of Los Angeles. LA, you got to get your stuff together right now. You are at the head of all this corruption. To face new corruption charges because he had been signing off on policies, ordinances, legislation that was funneling money and contracts and money to his wife's company. And he's pretending like I had no idea. I had no idea that this is what was going on. I had no idea it was all going to my wife.
What? As your governor, I promise you, whatever challenges come our way, I will always lead the California way.
You literally insane.
I say that's the California way.
You guys are really awesome. Thank you so much.
Based on compassion.
I mean, if we're going to be realistic, they pay you to be homeless here.
Common sense.
Clean and sober is one of the biggest damn mistakes this country's ever made. We all need to self-medicate periodically.
Telling the truth. Telling the truth. Treasuring our diversity.
Use the fist to hit my...
Telling the truth. Following science. Protecting our planet.
Love like yours will surely come my way.
Gavin Newsom, courage through crisis.
When it's time to go, you can choose how. You can wait for enforcement, or you can leave on your terms. The CBP Home app lets you self-deport with dignity, directly and securely. Don't wait, decide how it ends.
Crying harder, crying harder. Trump is your president. Crying harder, crying harder. Trump is your president.
On the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" ! Catch! !
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core.
Hey, let me shut down the Senate! We are at war!
We're in a war right now.
We are at war.
So you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
And that's why the gloves are off.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
And yes, there are many threats to democracy. We see it with these extreme candidates.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
You can only push people so far, and then they start to take matters into their own hands.
What the American public want is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an actual fight.
You know, this is literally call to arms.
The MAGA movement is a threat.
But Michelle says that, when they go low, we go high.
No. With all due respect, if they go low, we don't go high.
When they go low, we kick them.
We take them to the mud and choke them out.
And make sure that they stay down. And you know what? Kick them when they're down, because they deserve it.
Get up in the face of some Congress people.
We are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your...
We have to fight this in the streets.
And we're going to fight it in the streets.
It's time to step out of your comfort zone and step out into the streets.
To our Republican colleagues, if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire. Resist!
You and your little friend off of Twitter. Y'all about to find out.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
He's not going to have a third term. He may not finish this term.
That's the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. Just saying. There will be news sometime. Just so you know, there will be news.
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. Most important thing is my faith in my life.
But if you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.